a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, didn't choose it. But it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it. Give an account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but an eternity is in it. These are the wise words of the late, great Dr. Benjamin Mays. He talks about this precious thing called time. And time right now seems to be something that is going by very fast. I had to ask my wife this morning, I said, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? And as she's on her conference call, she's holding up her finger too, because she's, doing her thing. But it's just hard to really kind of understand, like, where are we? you know, and as time is moving by, and as we see the country getting ready to try to open back up and kind of kick back this economy, there's fear, there is chaos, confusion, and so when I was talking with Caleb about a month ago, and we're saying, hey, let's figure out a couple different things that we can bring to the startup community, bring to the small business community here in Northwest Arkansas and beyond. We just kind of had just real candid conversations about, what types of things are these small businesses facing. And we just kind of got, talking about different things. A piece that I have brought up was, the idea of doing joint ventures. Like, have people considered, looking at joint ventures? Because I feel as though we have different gifts and talents and skill sets that we all bring to this community, but we're always siloed in our own passions and purpose projects, in our own business marketing plans. And so we're always trying to figure out what we're doing. But right now, within this COVID-19 era and experience, we're having to figure out, how do we come together and how do we do things? And so as we were talking, I said, hey, I think it would be great if we began to, work together as a community and start building community to solve the problems of the community. Because for me, if I look at the purest form of entrepreneurship, the purest form of business, it is solving a problem and turning a profit. And that is all, to me, that's all entrepreneurship is, that's all business is how do we solve people's problems and how do we turn a profit? And if we can do that together right now, I think that we will actually solve the problems of the community, number one, but we can also, keep bringing in revenue and keep going. So the title of this seminar today is Put It All on the Table. This is a very interactive piece. So I'd like you all, especially those who are tuned in here today, who are in the Northwest Arkansas community, if you all could begin to interact. And so you may have to unmute yourself to provide some kind of content, but this is going to be interactive. So I'll get a little bit about me and I'll quickly roll through this. Joe Daniels, I graduated from the University of Arkansas back in 2018 with my doctorate in civil engineering. I'm currently a structural design engineer at Tatum Smith Welcher. It's an engineering firm up in Rogers, Arkansas. I'm also a community builder. I founded the Build Community Through Love, and it's an organization that seeks to infuse AGAPE love into the actionable and strategic restoration and revitalization of authentic community. Within that, I provide motivational speeches as well as keynote speeches. And then me and my wife have our own business where we are real estate investors here in the area. So for the agenda for today, I'm going to give a quick 2-minute overview or introduction, and then we're going to get right into it. Okay, it's going to be very interactive, like I said before. And so we'll just keep on moving with that. Our very first piece will be, what do we have? Our next piece will be, what issues are we facing in this age of COVID-19? And then the last piece will be, how can we tackle these issues together? All right, so from an introduction standpoint, we have seen businesses and people taking action over these last several weeks. All right, there is a COVID-19 healthcare coalition where you have more than 50 companies, small and large, who are figuring out how do we tackle these problems within healthcare, within the production of medical supplies, the production of PPE. How do we get all these things accomplished? How do we set the goals so that the worst hit areas are taken care of, but we're also tracking the different areas across the country as well. If you all remember back in, I want to say early March, a distillery in Oregon had converted a lot of their production towards making hand sanitizer. And I remember they were all over the news circuit showing how they have this hand sanitizer and they were bringing this away and actually giving us away for free. And then here in our own hometown, a student by the name of Sophie Hill had put together a resource map. And so she was pretty much reaching out to different businesses in the area saying, hey, you know, who has something that's essential so that people in this area can know where you are and know how to get to you. And so these are just different examples of how people are now taking action to solve problems in this area of COVID-19. And so I had found this one article and it said, you know, they pretty much did a synthesis of about 100 different small businesses around this country. And there's 5 strategies that they came up with that small businesses should be doing. 1, they should be expanding their market. 2, they should find different alternative delivery methods. How are you providing your product or service to your customer? Have you changed it? Do you have to change it? Are you going more virtual? I know right now in real estate, they're doing a lot more virtual tours because people aren't comfortable actually going into properties right now. Are you staying connected with your customers? Are you finding ways to send out more marketing? Are you sending out emails? Are you calling? Are you keeping in touch with them? And then also invest in your future. This is a time now where we have a lot of dead time. A lot of us are home. And so we have time now to continue to push those brand new ideas or to go into the systems that we currently have in place and start tweaking them and figure out, you know, where am I finding losses within my systems and how am I now building on those losses? But today, the thing we want to talk about the most today is partnering with the community, partnering with the other businesses here in the area or in the area in which you service. Okay. And so in doing that, we're going to go and look at it from this standpoint. I am the son of a pastor. My dad pastors the Emory Fellowship in Washington, D.C. And he's done a lot of community organizing. And so the one thing that he always preached to me in the congregation is if you have an organized people, if you have organized resources, and if you put those two things together and have an organized purpose, you will see mass development and you will also have mass empowerment. I think back to the civil rights movement. I think about the Montgomery bus boycott. When you have an organized people who will not go on the buses and will find a way to boycott. When you have organized resources, when you have people who have cars, when you have people who have trucks, when you have people who have systems in place where you can carpool, when you organize the people and you organize the resources, organizing for a purpose to make sure you have equal rights and equal protection to be able to ride the buses, you now have mass development and you have mass empowerment. And after 381 days, you now have a bus system that's able to now ride where people don't have to be disenfranchised, marginalized, or put down. And so you have those types of systems. I think back in the Bible, right? I think about how Jesus feeds 500, as he feeds 5,000. You think about Jesus saying to the disciples, hey, are you guys going out? There's all these people, we need to feed them. How will you feed them? And now all of a sudden, there's people now coming in and you have the disciples talking back to Jesus. And Jesus said, I am the asset, I can provide. And so if we understand that we are an organized people here in Northwest Arkansas, if we now begin to articulate what resources that we do have and we organize for a purpose, we can now see that our bills can still be paid. We can see that our employees can still have a paycheck. We can also see that we can continue to grow and be innovative in this process. So as we move forward, we are now pushing the barriers. We are now charting new territories. We are now going through different areas and down roads that have not been trotted yet, if I can quote Robert Frost. And so let's get into this thing right now. This is where it becomes interactive. What do we have? What assets do we have? I had referred to my dad being a pastor. So back in DC, they just finished building 1 year ago a $58 million church renovation process that put 99 units of affordable housing on the church property, which is all affordable housing. And so if you all know Washington, DC a little bit, you know that the price of living is crazy high. And so they put together in a 12-year process, they put together a way of being able to house 250 people in a 99-unit apartment complex on the building premises, on their property. And so for a long time, a lot of people said, I don't know how we can change the community. I don't know how we can help the community. The asset was right under their nose and they did not know it. And I think a lot of times when we think about business and we're thinking about how do we face these new age problems, we fail to realize that we have assets right under our noses and do not realize it. And so stop sitting on your assets. Stop sitting on your assets, okay? So we have to move from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset, all right? And so here's where it becomes interactive. I'm going to now bring up this list, and I want us now in the Northwest Arkansas community, I want us to identify what assets are here in the community. What assets are here? I'll put mine down. I am a speaker and influencer. And so if you would need someone to speak and help you market, I provide that type of service. And so if you could unmute and go ahead and speak it out and let me know what's here.
Videography.
Videography.
I'm a networker and business development director.
Networker.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell me what your name is?
Tony, T-O-N-I. Lujan, L-U-E-T-J-E-N. And I work for Steve Landers Toyota of Northwest Arkansas.
Fantastic. And so within networking and business development, what things do you specialize in?
What I do is go out in the community and remind people about who Steve Landers Toyota is, where we are located, what we do above and beyond other dealerships. And I'm an ambassador for the Bentonville, the Rogers, and the Springdale Chamber of Commerce. And so I go to all the ribbon cuttings, grand openings, business before hours, business after hours, open houses, and I learn about other people's businesses and a lot of small businesses. And when I hear somebody with a need that I know that there's a company that could fill that need, I promote those other companies. And it's like a giver's gain philosophy. I help other businesses as much as I can. And in turn, I just always feel like people do business with people they like and they trust. And so they get to know me. And so they totally refer business to Steve Landers all the time, just because I try to help out other businesses.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What's next?
Joe, we also have some comments coming in on the comments.
Yes.
Rick said he provides Zoom hosting services. Wendy says she is an IT and telecommunications consultant. Brian is a small business media and marketing consultant. Spencer is a photographer and filmmaker with a marketing mindset. Lisa says she's with Legal Shield and has multiple programs to help small businesses. And G.L. Riley says career transition SVS, interview prep and trainings. Brandon Swoboda is the executive director for Habitat for Humanity of Washington County. We've got a lot of good answers in here.
That's fantastic. So right now we have speakers, we have influencers. Is there anybody who can speak? Hey, Caleb, if you can go ahead and take notes on that, if you can take the notes from the people who are commenting, is there anybody else who wants to unmute and provide about a 30-second plug on what asset they have?
Hey, my name's Richard, and I run food recycling solutions and partnered with Food Loops. So we do food waste recycling. And right now, with a lot of restaurants closed, those were our major partners. Not a lot is happening there. It's greatly reduced. I should mention Harps food stores have really stepped up. So we've taken on a number of those stores. So they're very sustainably minded. So plug for Harp stores to be able to support them. We also, in light of restaurants being not just doing kind of curbside and takeout and gift cards. So we partnered, Food Loops and I partnered to be able to create a website called Where to Eat NWA. And that if you're a restaurant or a grocery store or food truck, you can have a free listing there to say list what services you are providing right now, your hours of operation. There's a map and a locator for that. You can search by town or area or types of food that you're looking for. And yes, so for those searching for that, there's been about 20,000 searches so far in the last 4 weeks for that. So it's well used. So that's wheretoeatnwa.com.
Fantastic. And you said your name was Richard or Rick? I'm sorry.
Richard. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Richard, what's your last name?
It's Ims, spelled I-M-S.
Good. So Richard, thank you for that. If you could share with all of us what that process was, how did you get involved with that? What did the partnership look like? And then what was the influence of that partnership? Or was that partnership already established before COVID-19?
No, the website, if that's what you're referring to, the website.
Yes.
So I'll briefly mention Harps. That partnership was developed with, we did a pilot at one store and they expanded to another 10 stores, which is great. The partnership with listing restaurants, eateries, grocery stores, food trucks was just a manifestation based on the local need. We saw the need because we're intimately familiar with the challenges there. So as a free service to area restaurants, it was really Michael Kraus of Food Loops that was the driver of this project, and we tested it and developed it, and it's got a tremendous response, and it's just a service for struggling eateries that are out there, and we're trying to drive traffic to those places by being able to list, as I said, if they do curbside, takeout, gift cards, their hours of operation, and we'll continue to do that as long as necessary.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. I think that's a great model that we should all follow here for now. Is there anybody else? Trying to make sure I keep time.
Yeah, we got some more on the comment section.
Okay.
Ryan Carroll is a specialist on China with a focus on media and technology. Lisa with Legal Shield said she also she offers free resources for the community to help with things they may be facing, including ongoing scam protection. Brian,
that's huge right now.
Brian Crum is also, in addition to being a media specialist, he offers, he's a certified remote pilot for drones and offers drone photography and videography for residential and commercial clients.
I can't spell, guys. I'm an engineer, and so I'm going to just allow the red squiggly to pick them up. And so we're just going to keep moving on that one. But I think this is great. So right now we have media and tech, we have videography, a drone operator, and those who can and work within videography, photography. In terms of small business development, we have that. We have Zoom hosting services. We have food recycling. We have marketers. We have people in legal. Is there a way for my legal person to do joint ventures? Is there a way to set up joint ventures?
Yes, there is a way to set that up. It's a good question.
Can you give an overview of what that is? I'm not sure if anybody has done one yet, but if you could just give a quick overview of what that is and how we can make that work maybe in the next, 9 months and just do something very shorthand to solve a problem that's happening right here, right now, and actually use that.
Well, we know that our small business owners are faced with a multitude of legal questions and challenges from all of the programs that are available, from employees, insurance. So we've got programs that can help them, of course, providing a very, very affordable legal support. So we also partner with other businesses who are looking for additional ways to, have revenue. And so there are ways that they can do that, and we're able to help support them in that with the referral program that we do. And so again, it depends on the business and what they're looking, how they can do that. We partner a lot with insurance companies, insurance people, real estate people, because it fits in very nicely to what they do.
Okay. Wonderful.
And Lisa, we had trouble hearing some of that. If you wouldn't mind commenting that also in the chat section for our audience to read as well.
Of course, I will. Thank you.
I'll take one more. Is there anybody in the space that's not necessarily technological? Is there anybody in agriculture by chance? Anybody in manufacturing? Is there anybody in retail? How about from the nonprofit world standpoint?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, hey, it's Brandon Swoboda.
Hey, Brandon.
So we're a nonprofit organization, but we are a retail business, and we're also a construction company. And we're also act as a bank in that we service our own mortgages. So, even though we're a nonprofit, we have to think, and drive ourselves like we are a for-profit organization. Our Restore, our Habitat Restore is our retail center. It's our major fundraiser where we accept goods from folks in the Washington County area. Benton County has its own Habitat for Humanity up there, so they do the same up there. And then we take those household goods and we put them on our floor and we sell them to the public. And so, we've had to shut down because of this pandemic, and we actually moved our sales online through our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And of course, we do best practices of getting it to our customers outside and allowing them to load it themselves and keeping our social distance and all of that. So what I'm doing now is just rethinking how this is going to impact us in our future, because a lot of giving for nonprofit organizations is down, and they're anticipating that it's not going to go up anytime soon because most folks are holding on to their cash.
Got it.
So that's our challenge right now.
But so that's the challenge, and that's going to happen in the next segment in like 30 seconds. But in terms of the asset, like what? So
here's what
we currently have is what?
Yeah. So here's the good news about what we do. So we're still building. We utilize volunteers, we utilize subcontractors. We're finishing a home and about to put an amazing low-income family, single mother and her son into home ownership. We've started another home that will hopefully finish in the next 6 to 9 months, and that's because of the generosity of folks in the Northwest Arkansas area and volunteers. And so we're continuing to build and find ways to do that and help low-income families achieve home ownership, even in the midst of a pandemic. The other thing that's good is that we offer resale purchasing. So resale shops are good when the economy is not doing great, because people need to purchase things for their home and they don't want to pay the full price for it. So that is something that we offer to the community, is if you're needing that new kitchen sink or that toilet or that shower or that couch or that armoire and you can't afford the latest and greatest, you can come and get it at a lower cost.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're getting ready to go ahead and move forward from the assets. Keep thinking of assets, because as they come along, and as we continue to talk, if you have them, go ahead and continue to spit them out, because right now this is a way for us to find ways to communicate offline as we move forward. Okay, so again, we have folks who work in videography, photography, right? But not even that. We can even connect videography, photography with folks who do the operation with drones. And so if you need some collaboration between marketing, right, and that may be something that we have to do. We have a lot of companies now doing everything through Zoom. And so if you need to have a Zoom hosting service person help you out with that, you have that. If you want to partner that with someone who can look at scam protection, you can look at all of those different things. And so right now, here in our little community right now, we have all of this at our disposal. Now we got to figure out, how do we now use it to figure out how to now tackle it. Okay. And so right now we're going to go into what issues are we facing right here in Northwest Arkansas in the age of COVID-19. And so I just put up a couple different industries here, right? So if you think about students, right? For those who have kids, I don't have kids, but for those who have children and are having to be a stay-at-home teacher, a stay-at-home employee, I'm sure you guys are finding a little bit challenging of trying to do 7th grade geometry and all that kind of stuff. And so there's issues happening right now in the education system, since we have to do everything now online. What's happening right now with supply chain? What's happening right now in the food services and agriculture? What's happening in healthcare? Okay, and so I want all of us to go ahead and take one good deep breath in. And I want you to pause. And I want you to take one good deep breath out. And I want us to go ahead and put that thinking cap on. And let's start getting into the minds and at the hearts of people who are now struggling, industries that are struggling. How do we now identify what those problems are? And so we're going to use the next 10 minutes to go through what problems those are. So again, for those who were voicing their pieces in the chat, go ahead and do that now. And for those who want to unmute themselves and go ahead and share with me a problem that you're seeing, you can go ahead and do that now.
I'll start if you don't mind. I'm Tony Lujan with Steve Landers Toyota. And one thing that I have done is I found a Facebook page called NWA Free Stuff. And I posted out there that I had some free stuff to give away. Well, then I noticed that I get notified when people are in need of stuff, and food and clothing and just all types of different things. So that has in turn been a blessing, because I've found like a lady that she's married, but she's a hairstylist, and so she's out of a job. She has 4 boys, and so she was in need of clothing for the oldest boy. And I just posted on my Facebook, because I have a lot of friends on mine, and asked if anyone had his sizes. And I had a couple of friends that did, and I asked what her sizes were, and she was like, well, you know, I wasn't really asking for me, but I would love that. So I was able to I've taken stuff over to her like 3 different times. But also she didn't really understand the unemployment situation and how she should file. So I was able to talk to her and ask her if she had filed, and she was confused and didn't know that she had to make a call weekly. I don't think she quite grasped it all. So she has gotten, now I gave her a number of a guide there that I knew, and so now she is filed and they are going to start paying her. And so I don't know, it just makes me feel better. I like to help people, and I know a lot of times they don't quite understand the whole system, and so sometimes you just kind of have to help them along. But anyway, I've helped out a lot of people out on that Facebook page. So it's something people might, you know, everyone's cleaning out their closets and doing stuff during the pandemic. So we might as well, I don't like to throw things away.
Mhm.
I like to give them away because I just know that there's people that would appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tony. Anybody else? Or who's next?
I guess everyone else is super shy.
Hi, Joey. This is Tiffany. Definitely some problems that people are running into right now. Some people can't afford rent. Some people can't afford to get food on their table. Some people maybe can't pay for childcare because along with this, of course, health crisis, there's an economic crisis.
All right. Thank you, Iffy. Who's next? And these can also be certain problems that you all are facing right now within your business, within your nonprofit, within your startup, within taking your business. Because I mean, for some of you all, there was a potential that you guys were getting ready to go into the scaling stage of your business, and possibly, you know, this has now stalled your scale. And so, are there things from your own businesses that you all are seeing that you're having that you're facing issues with? I don't like problems. Let's say challenges.
Joe, on the Startup Junkie side, a pillar of what we do, you know, every week, every other day is host events for the entrepreneurial and small business community. And obviously, this crisis has made it impossible to do these types of events, these networking events, educational events in person. So that was a problem we were posed with, or a challenge we were posed with very early on in this crisis.
So Caleb, this is Rick Tula. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so, you know, one of the challenges that you just mentioned could also be an opportunity because, you know, for those of us who live up here in Bentonville, driving down to Fayetteville for events, you know, that takes an extra hour and 20 minutes or something like that out of the day. And so being able to hop on a Zoom like this is great. And so, especially for events and that kind of thing, I could see that the reach could be much broader, and going forward, even after COVID, that this could become a more common way for people to meet. So I think that's actually a plus in that respect.
I was hoping somebody would say that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, there's 2 of them I'm joining today from you guys, so it's just great.
And to, you know, we have our partner there in Central Arkansas, and this being able to do these things virtually, online, webinar style, geography is not a barrier for us anymore. We can have these collaborative events with a broader audience and more people.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
I would say also, this is Ryan Carroll, that when you forget the event was happening and your alarm goes off 10 minutes before, instead of missing it, just turn your computer on. But you also mentioned the unemployment as well. I actually, I also work for the University of Arkansas at the Walton College, and I was furloughed back at March 10th. So I've been sitting at home for quite a while. So I filed for unemployment before the CARE Act started. And so I've been kind of waiting for it. And I finally got approval about 2.5 weeks ago. But I didn't know that I got approval because I just got a piece of paper. And I'm never filed for unemployment. So it is quite confusing. And I didn't know that I needed to get online. And so I actually talked to some of my neighbors because their son is on unemployment. And you have to actually go not only online, but you're supposed to register a PIN. And I'm still trying to figure out how to actually register my PIN, and just trying to actually call and get a hold of somebody is a process. So I actually haven't even actually got a hold of somebody yet calling. So that's something I'm going to do at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning when they actually open up. So it is something that's not easy to do, but it's worth it, because through the CARE Act, they actually have bumped it up. So instead of receiving $100 a week through unemployment, you're going to be receiving $600, because through the CARE Act, the federal government has pumped in $500 extra a week through, I think, the end of July. So, going through all these hoops is going to be worth it, because I'm not going to be, I'm actually furloughed through at least June. Maybe I'm furloughed through July. So.
I'm going to chime in on that one. I actually have a guy that I know that works at the employment agency, and if you have a pen, I can give you his direct numbers.
Okay.
Okay. 479-462-5740. And the other number is 479-657-0503. And his name is Jason. Maybe that'll help you.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Another comment we have in the comment section, Lisa said she's, from her clientele, seen a challenge with people not having their wills and medical directives set up legally, and which can obviously be an issue in a health crisis.
Yes.
Wow, that's huge. Yep. That's big time.
I do know that there's a place called Beautiful Lives Boutique, and it's a resale shop, and a high-end resale shop. Like, they take very nice things. So of course they are closed, but they're still accepting clothes. People can set them at the door, and they're checking the door. They have people in there sorting clothes. But what they have done is they started posting pictures of some of the more popular, more recent styles, and you can buy them online like that, which is kind of out of the blue for them. But they're just trying to keep their doors open, because they had just opened the Bentonville location a couple of months ago. And it's a very, very nice store. It's very large. You would think it's a regular boutique. But anyway, they're doing everything they possibly can to keep things going. And they donate all the money to charities. So I'm sure they're having to just, most of the people that work there are volunteers.
All right. Right before we actually move on, is there anybody else from the nonprofit community having any problems with, in terms of their interaction with the people that they're serving? All right. Well, let's figure out how we're going to tackle these things together. Okay. Again, from the beginning, when we say if we have an organized people with organized resources, all looking to be organized under a particular purpose, we can have mass development and mass empowerment. And so as I go back and think, let's go ahead and recycle some of the things that we talked about earlier. Okay. We said we have folks who do videography and photography. We have people who are networkers and business developers. We have folks in legal. We have folks in the nonprofit community. We have people in the food recycling community. Okay, we have folks in our community who are doing media and technology. We have resale purchasing. We have construction. All these different things right now. We've identified a few problems, or a few challenges, excuse me. And so how are we now going to face them together? And so, Richard, if you could go ahead and provide a little bit more context of your model here. And I think this could provide some input on how we're thinking about how we can move together and form partnerships.
Yes, the model with the website where to eat NWA is simply a vehicle by which restaurants can list for free what they have to offer and try as a link to people who are wondering, where do I go? Who's open? Is my favorite restaurant still serving? What hours do they keep now? Will they deliver to me? Do they have gift cards? Or those that are exploring new cuisines that they're not used to. You can search by region and type of food and type of facility. So again, it's these have been our partners in the past year or so, and we wanted to be able to provide something that that is beneficial for the community and for restaurants, because we're in the same boat. Our business is down by 60%. Keep our heads above water, and we're taking a look at other opportunities. Maybe this is really a B2B business. We take food waste, divert it from the landfill, and create compost from it. A lot of the food now is being done at homes as well. So we do have a residential bucket swap program as well that can be utilized, but we're trying to think how we might be able to collect from individuals on a more massive scale. So that's diverted from the land as well, because it's recycling maybe has taken a back seat these days, as maybe not perceived as a priority, but we still want to offer the service. We still feel it is very vital to a circular economy here. So yeah, that we're glad sustainability efforts, and just looking to pivot like everybody else, but trying to get creative.
Wonderful, thank you. And then Caleb, I see there's a few things in the chat.
Yeah, so Rick tagged his Zoom hosting consulting, GABTIP, info@GABTIP.com. is one that's in the comments there. Tony also included her, how folks might be able to reach out to her.
Awesome. So I see like we have a few people online who either work at the University of Arkansas or who work in the university system or who work in the startup system. What things are you guys looking for? What things do you need? And then how can the people on this webinar begin to provide their services to extend out? And I actually want to call out a person, and I hope she doesn't think I'm bad for this, but she has she's sitting on like a burgundy type chair, and I met her through a pretty cool opportunity. So Tiffany, if you could provide some insight on what things that you guys are doing to kind of stay up, because you're in Russellville now, right?
Yes, I'm in Russellville. I'm on the conductor team, so the central part of the Startup Junkie team. And it's so good to see you, Dr. Daniels. I've been enjoying your presentation.
Oh, thank you. Good
One thing that I've been thinking about as you guys have been talking, we did a similar type of ecosystem building exercise, and we had a whole bunch of different people from the business world and the government world, but we also had some high school students there. And when the high school students talked about the same questions, just their assets and their resources, but their hope and dreams and what they wanted to do, it really opened up a whole new world of opportunity that the business people hadn't considered, because they often talk to the college age people, but it's that demographic of 16 to 18 that has a little bit of money to spend and a little bit of freedom, but they're not often tapped into. And so that would be my thought to this group as you're thinking about how to link and leverage the assets and opportunities for new ventures. Maybe think about, you know, who are those unreached people that aren't here at the table right now? Who are the people that you don't often collide with on an everyday basis? And think about how your particular services and unique traits can be of benefit to people that you haven't had the chance to serve before.
That's awesome. Thank you much. And so, Caleb, I think that would be something great to kind of move forward with. How can we kind of leverage? I mean, off the top of my mind, I'm thinking like the station. How can we manage people who still have ties there and begin implementing or seeing kind of what type of creative ideas are coming out of spaces like that? So, Tiffany, thank you for that.
And Jeff,
that input.
Jeff from our Startup Junkie team also mentioned in the comments that startups and small businesses can also always reach out to, if they're in Central Arkansas, Conductor, and Northwest Arkansas Startup Junkie to help with working on these business models, understanding what's in the CARES Act and how it can provide relief, and thinking through whatever pivots may be necessary during a time of a pandemic like this.
For sure.
Also, Spencer Theobald commented in the comment section that he's a part of an organization at John Brown University called Enactus. They're a community of students who seek needs through entrepreneurial action. In the COVID situation, they've had to put certain things on hold, especially with their international projects. But they have a lot of entrepreneurial students who are looking for opportunities in projects locally and ways that they can help.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, well, I really wanted to just kind of make this something to spearhead thought, okay? I know it's pretty hard to do a lot of things interactive off Zoom because people are either on mute and they can't, and they're in a noisy background, or sometimes there's different expectations on hopping on these different types of calls. But I just wanted to kind of implement and put that into your thought process as you're moving through this, because I know that, as the government says that we're getting ready to reopen here in the next few weeks, I kind of want us to understand that like we're in times that we haven't seen, And as we move forward into May, into June, into July, into Thanksgiving, into Christmas, we're going to now be challenged with these different things. Because think about it, depending on where we are, by the time we get to Black Friday, sales are going to be completely different. Services are going to be completely different. By the time we open back up for school in August and September, things are going to be completely different on how we move forward. And so in order for us to get on the front end of that, you know, we as the small business community have to begin thinking, have to begin innovating, but we don't have to do anything that's going to be so far-fetched. We can figure out what right now is under our nose that we have not tapped into. As Tiffany said, there's creative ideas and creative minds in areas and spaces that we haven't reached yet. And if you talk to people like Tony, who, you know, she may be working in car sales, but she's networking and she's leveraging multiple resources all across this this region of Arkansas. And so she has a lot of networks and social capital that you can, you know, partner with her and align yourself with to tap into those resources as well. And so as you're building, as you're growing, we don't have to stay stagnant because we have a scarce mindset. We should shift into an abundance mindset and begin thinking about who is here, what resources do we have, how do we organize the people, how do we organize the resources, and how do we organize around a common purpose so that we can continue to build, we can continue to grow, and we can continue to move this region and our country forward. So that's all I had for you all today. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your comments. We're going to provide a lot of this information for you. I'll have this PowerPoint will be up, and I'll give it to Caleb so he can have some of these things that are listed out. And so I think we should just continue to work together. Thank you to Startup Junkie for providing me this opportunity. Thank you for all the work that you guys continue to do to help our community. And my contact information is right here. And that's all I have. So Caleb, you can go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Daniels, we greatly appreciate you for leading this session today. I think it was very valuable to everybody who participated. And as you can see, all the thank yous in the comment section there, people got something out of it, I believe. Like he said, he's going to send me this PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to send it to everybody that signed up, and anybody that wants it can reach out to me. My email is caleb@startupjunkie.org. And then this is also being recorded, and it is being streamed on our Facebook Live. So if you want to go back and rewatch something, you can watch it on our Facebook Live, but I'm going to put this on our YouTube channel as well. So you'll have a couple of ways you can be able to watch this later. But I just want to thank you again for participating in this session today, and be on the lookout for some more in the future. I think we've talked about possibly doing this again. If Joe is up for it, we might do another session in the future. So y'all be on the lookout. Thanks, everybody.